Mine heritage empowering mine.
Is a feeling a reaction?
It's like a fire.
A fire. Yes.
Yeah? Because
yes.
you're angry, you feel the
it's
anger.
an internal reaction.
Yeah, it's an internal
reaction.
With every step we take.
When you look it up, it comes from a Latin word, imoveri, which means
Tomorrow with dreams we've made.
movement of what? Energy. So this energy can be positive, it can be negative. So the energy is where we derive the word enthusiasm, which is ethos. Ethos means burning from within. So it can burn positively or it can burn negatively. So when somebody says, I'm feeling this emotion, just know there is some energy moving in them. Now you listen. Is it a good emotion or a negative emotion? Now when we go to intelligence, you've heard of this, what does it mean? When you want to understand the word, understand the meaning of it first. When you look at it, intelligence comes from a Latin word also, interlegere, which means between. But now they build on it because between what? They call it between information. That's why when Newton was under that mango tree, he read between the lines. The information he knew and what he had seen. Why was the apple falling and the moon was not falling? You get it? So it is, you look at something and you're like, why is this glass full? Another one will say it is half empty. So what informs you that it is half empty? You get? So a person who is intelligent is a person who always questions what is and what should be, and they imagine. So your role, whenever you read between information, you're intelligent. Now when we sum it together, it gives us what we call emotion intelligence. Are you able to read between the five senses, what they feed you, and also being able to manage the energy that runs within you after what has been fed in you? So if you can balance the two, they'll say, aha, this guy is emotionally intelligent. But the truth of the matter is that emotional intelligence and mental health and wellness is more or less the same. This is the new normal. Emotional intelligence, now that we know what it means, it's a concept that started in the 1970s with it's called Donald Gardner. He was a researcher and he had tried to understand what emotional was. But in his research, he came up with the word intelligence to marry the two, to understand how people react and act. Then in 1980, D. Myers landed on this man's research and he built on it. Actually, for him, he called it effective intelligence. But it did not hold water. Then he said, the feeling intelligence. He wrote extensively, building on Donald Gardner's research. Until 1995, Daniel Goldman. Now this one popularized it. But you see, it's a notion that started way back. Me, I came to learn on this auto-emotion intelligence in 2015. That's when I had first time to hear the word emotion intelligence. I was like, so what does this mean? I don't know about you. So what does emotion intelligence mean? Emotion intelligence has three connotations. The reason as to why we study. It affects the way we show up at work. It affects the way we do our work. And the third, the way we relate with others.
Number 3 is the one that really shows you how emotional.
Do you know the emotion, the feeling Can you understand it? And can you manage it? These are the fundamentals as to why actually we're having this conversation. To know the emotion, understand it, and manage it. And when you understand this, you know what happens to you? You'll be seen, be understood,
shades of tone
and be heard.
and seeds weaves.
This is every human being's desire. To be seen, be understood, be heard. But how do we achieve this? This is the result. So let's go back to the course. Now, for us to be able to be seen, be understood, and be heard, you have to first know, understand, and manage the emotions, which emotions will affect the way you show up, the way you do your work, and the way you relate with others. So the bigger picture is we are human beings, right? We are human beings. Now, for you to be seen, be understood, and be heard, there are three fundamentals we need to know, to understand, and manage so that to be seen, be understood, and be heard. The first one is the head.
Giving life to
The other is the heart.
the seeds we've sown.
The other is the entirety of this,
Every shadow,
the body, or the physical.
a story,
These things affect the way you're seen, understood, and be heard.
but we find it
So let's go to the brain, or to the head, this upper part. We said emotion intelligence is reading between the line and managing the energy that flows within you. And in that, it helps us to know, understand, and manage our emotions, right? But you can't change what you don't know. You have to know something for you to be able to change it. Now, the first thing is to know your head. This big thing, I'll ask you, where is your mind?
giving life to the
Where's your mind? Where's your mind? Point at it. Point. Who thinks otherwise? This one has attended most of my classes. Now she knows. Yeah, your mind is not here. Your mind is everything around you and yourself, inclusive. But what is here is your brain. And what is the function of the brain? It has two: core, flight, and fight. Yes? But that's why you find other functions, memory, blah, 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 thoughts, and whatever. Now, your brain, within there, we have what we call thinking. Yet to be seen, be understood, and be heard, you have to know what you think. Well, what are you thinking?
dreams and seeds weaves.
Now, you're just being intentional. But often in time, we are quiet, and somebody, what? I was thinking, but they ask, what were you thinking? You can't tell. Yes? Yes. But we know we are thinking because our brains are also designed to think. You can't stop your brain from thinking. Tebakulima. That business I hear people saying when you go to meditate, I stop thinking. You go, that is a typical lie. Meditation is not stopping your brain from thinking. We shall go to it. But now, in your head, we are told that we have 56 thoughts. An average human being in less than a minute. These are 60 seconds. Stay with me. Because when you understand this, you're going to understand it better. Now, if you say that you want to be seen, be understood, and be heard, and you cannot manage these 56 thoughts, are you going to be seen, be understood, and be heard? Definitely not. Because out of the 56 thoughts, this is not rocket science. As we are seated here, when are we finishing, and somebody is thinking. But out of the 56, we are told that 80 are what?
Find the hues, the shades of tone.
Repetitive. What you thought about yesterday is what you think today, because even the way the acts you did are the same acts you have been doing for the last 2 months or year. The way you got up, the way you've been getting up. Right? But it's not surprising. Me, the catch is that out of the 80, 96 are negative. You see how we're products of negativity? So I will look at your dress, I'm like, it's not even looking good out of blue. And they ask you why, you're like, you've had people saying, I don't like, and they're like, just, right? So we are in and out becoming negative. So what emotion are we building? A negative emotion. And once you have the negative emotion, that's what you're thinking. For example, Albert, if your boss calls you now, sends a message, Albert, I want to see you in my office tomorrow at 9. What will run in your head? You think of the worst. Atina, what have I done? What did I, But it's just a call. Can't you think of maybe they're going to appraise me, or they're going to promote me, or they're going to do,
Salary increment.
salary increment? Or no, we rush here because that's where we are. Now the question is, if we are having these thoughts running in our brains, how can we be seen, be understood, and be heard? Then how can we change to be good or do good? Now the first thing we need to know is, one, you need to know. Now that you know that they are running is the starting point. And once you know, and knowing, we normally use the word catch me. You need to catch your thoughts. Catch your thoughts. That's why they say meditation is very important. Meditation is about you catching your thoughts. Can you sit there and you become an observer than becoming a partaker? Like you start seeing your thoughts. You're like, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about this. Now the science is that everything you catch, you control. Because you are living in a loop of negativity. So we don't know even when we think negative. But now you start catching yourself. It won't come today that every time, no. But as you keep thinking about it, that I have to catch my thoughts, then you catch it and introduce it. When you get in that room, if you haven't put lights, it will be dark. Not so. But if you put the lights, have we chased away the light? Have we eliminated the light? It is there. Just that the light has overtaken the darkness. Because when you switch it off, you'll see darkness coming. So every time you catch your thoughts, you're having power over it, but it no longer has power over you, so it disappears, it dissolves. Now that's how you start to control yourself and start acting. We shall go to that, how these two relate. The second, after you know, are you able to name it? I'm fearing. Or they call you and they're like, come and give us a talk. Maybe you're in a management meeting or staff meeting. They're like, okay. Albert, stand up and tell us. Do you ever catch yourself to say, now I'm getting timid. What am I going to talk about? How are they going to think about me? How are they going to feel? How are they going to perceive the things I'm going to talk about? Many of us don't think about that. But the energy, the effort pushes us, and we end up stammering. We are there. Some of us freeze, right? But if you're able to name it, you're like, I think I'm getting timid, right? It helps because now you're having control over that emotion or over that thought. Sorry. Now, after you have named it, can you rename it? Still one. It's fear. Okay. Let me get up and use it. And somebody will say, I feel good. Huh? Or look at somebody in the audience like that they relate so much with. Like, all right, let me look at that person. You're renaming it through a visual concept. It's because you're trying to replace what you think. Now, finally, now that you know you've renamed, you have to act. Action simply means, do you know which part of your body resonates with that emotion? When you say, I am timid, which part of your body connects with it? Some, the heart will start pumping. And your stomach anxiety. So every time you hear your heart and your stomach, if you know, within a second, it will go away. Because you've caught it. You're like, now I've seen you coming. It will go back. But most of us, it comes and we are in movement because we are in that loop. So knowing and naming and renaming and knowing which part dissolves the emotions. The second we have to talk about is the heart, which is Feelings, sorry.
Giving life to the dream.
Do you know how a habit becomes a habit? How a habit becomes a habit. I read that book of Atomic Habits, and I was talking about how habits come into play, the triggers, the rewards, and blah, 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 blah. It made sense until I landed on a book of, he wrote biology, it's called Dr. Bruce Lipton. He explained to me in that book how a habit is, and I believed him. And how James Clear explained it. He said, it is a thought, not so. Everything starts with a thought. This is the thought, feeling, the action. Now it starts from here, it comes here. From here, 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 here. So by the time this gets enough of the thought, now this eliminates this. You no longer think because it has already become permanent in the body. So the body starts to control you. It craves. And by the time you know it, you're already doing it. You're already acting towards. So it short circuits this because the thought will come and you're like, let me a little bit. Now it has not yet become a habit. But once it becomes permanent in your body, it becomes a habit. Now the body starts sending signals to make you walk. What you think. It's like if you've ever been bitten by a snake, every time you look at it, you don't think, the body reacts. If somebody can throw a bomb there, and maybe we know how it sounds, we'll all run before even we. It's because we're no longer thinking. We are acting out of the feelings. Now, when it comes to our heart, which has the feelings, we are told, remember, we are saying we have 56 thoughts. Now, here we have 27 emotions. Name them as you want. Love, happiness, bitterness, sadness, 27 average. Now, how do you change if you do not know these emotions? How can you be seen if you cannot manage them? You have been told to stand up and say something. The emotions will pull you down. Why? It is the feeling. That's why people say, I don't feel nice. No, it's not feeling nice. You don't think right or nice. Because it has not become a habit. So it is the thought. So instead of saying, I don't feel nice, say, I don't think nice. Because the feeling now are the 27 emotions. And these are the emotions that run us. Now, are we able to understand these 27 emotions? If you look at these 27 emotions, they fall into 3 clusters. One, they are biological. We are born with some of these, bit negative, bit positive. You've heard people say, that family, they are very happy. From their daughter and granddaughter, they are very happy. Oh, they are very nice people. We carry it biologically. The second is the environment. If you leave this place and go to Kamwacha, the people in Kamwacha down, deep, behave more or less the same way. That's why they tell me, or they tell us, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Because we carry on their habits. And we very well know that habits come from feeling, that permanence. Now, it's either biological or environment, and the other is experience. If you've ever been bitten by a snake, every time you look at a snake, it's either positive feeling or negative feeling. If you are a person who likes, let me say, drinking, when you look at the bottle,
immediate joy.
High immediate joy. If you're a person who smokes, by the time, when the tobacco, is it aroma or smell passes by, you're like, So is it negative or positive? Thinking makes it so. But the other that we have that is actually not out of experience that we are seeing today is the SSS. The small screen syndrome. This one does not fall in any of the 3. It is a reflex that maybe may come out of experience, or that may come out of triggers, or that may come out of the environment. And the triple S is the small screen syndrome. We know that today.